planning to steal some cash from a wealthy lady's house, but I broke down in her villa because it was like a pile of trash. Being a clean freak thief with an 8-pack, I couldn't help but clean for her the whole afternoon. Then I left a note, calling her out for being filthy, handily taking 1,395 Chinese yuan as a labor fee. Just as I stepped out, the police pinned me down. But Shen Yushu didn't just sign a waiver. Afterwards, she asked me out every day to shop and eat, always fighting to pay the bill, until those 8 glasses of wine hit my stomach. When I woke up, I realized I had become her prey. My name is Jiang Ye, 23 years old, originally a fitness coach. But because my sister suddenly got leukemia, needing 500,000 urgently for surgery, I took up this unclean profession. I staked out Shen Yaoshu's door for 3 days, confirming this woman left early and returned late every day. There was definitely no one home. The moment I picked the lock and entered, I almost thought I'd walked onto the wrong movie set. Designer handbags scattered haphazardly on the floor. Expensive silk scarves used as flower pot mats. The living room coffee table piled with takeout boxes from the whole week, and clothes on the sofa could open an entire thrift store. My OCD flared up right on the spot, and my hands started trembling. The plan was a 10-minute get in, get out, but I actually ended up picking up the vacuum, cleaning while cursing myself for being crazy. I saw expensive furniture buried under trash, making my whole body uncomfortable. Halfway through cleaning, I found her wallet in the bedroom. Inside was only 1,395 Chinese yuan in cash. I stared at that money for 3 minutes, eventually taking it all. Before leaving, I left a note on the dining table. Is your house any different? From a pigsty. This bit of money is my labor fee. Learn how to clean up next time. Who knew that right after I sat down at the noodle shop, downstairs 4 cops rushed in and pinned me. Shen Yushu stood at the door in a business suit, looking at me expressionlessly inside the police station. I was mentally prepared to go to prison. My sister's surgery money still hadn't been raised, and I was about to go to jail for a few years. Thinking of this, my eyes welled up. At that moment, Shen Yushu suddenly spoke up. Officer, we know each other. He's the housekeeper I hired. That money is the salary I paid him. I was stunned. The police were also stunned. Then why did you call the cops? Just a misunderstanding? I thought there was a thief. I didn't know he was cleaning. Shen Yushu said it as light as a breeze. But I clearly saw her gaze lingering on my arms, where I'd rolled up my shirt sleeves, more precisely lingering on my muscular forearms. A look like she was sizing up a prime piece of steak. After leaving the station, she pulled me straight into the cafe next door. Then with a thud, threw down a contract. Monthly salary 100,000. Private butler. Main job, keep my house clean. Signing. Are you crazy? I'm a thief. I know. Shen Yoshu rested her chin on her hand and smiled. That's why you won't dare steal from me anymore. Right, besides, with your OCD seeing filth, and a mess is something you definitely can't stand. I've been watching you for a long time, Jiang Ye, star trainer of the gym. Sister is sick and needs money. Backed into a corner, so you turned to theft. A chill ran down my spine. This woman had investigated me thoroughly. You don't have to sign. But right now, I'll call the cops and report your break-in. Plenty of evidence. What about your sister's surgery money then? I clenched my fist, nails digging into my skin. In the end, I signed the contract. Shen Yoshu satisfiedly tucked the contract away, grinning like a cat that just ate the canary. Welcome to the job, Butler Jiang. Starting tomorrow, that house of mine is all in your hands. At that moment, I suddenly realized I thought I was the hunter. But in reality, I was the prey from the very start. 8 a.m. the next morning, I carried my cleaning kit, standing in front of Shen Yushu's house, taking a deep breath at the door, then pushed it open and immediately regretted signing that contract. It had only been one night, and the living room had 7 more delivery boxes. On the dining table were 3 half-finished milk teas. In front of the bedroom were at least 5 pairs of shoes scattered. I stood at the door, my temples throbbing. Butler Jiang, you're here. Shen Yushu poked her head out of the bedroom, hair as messy as a bird's nest. She was wearing a silk nightgown, barefoot, stepping onto the floor that I had just scrubbed clean yesterday. Miss Shen, please. Could you put on some slippers? I tried my best to suppress my anger. She sluggishly walked to the shoe cabinet, casually grabbed one slipper and put it on. The other foot was still bare. Where's the other one? I can't find it. Probably under the sofa or out on the balcony. Go find it for me. I closed my eyes, repeating 3 times that I can't hit the employer. Then started turning the house upside down to find her slipper. Eventually, I found it next to the fridge. Beside it was a moldy apple. For the next 4 hours, I spun like a whirlwind, unboxing packages, sorting recyclables and expired items. Jewelry was all over the place. Clothes were rearranged by color and season, while Shen Yushu sat on the sofa, clutching a tablet, pretending to work. But in reality, her eyes were constantly following me. Butler Jiang, how long have you been training? 5 years. I didn't look up, continuing to fold clothes. Are those abs from training or genetics? Training. Can I feel them? Get lost. I wiped down every one of her designer bags, then hung them back in the walk-in closet. Just as I finished and turned around, Shen Yushu had snuck in at some point, reaching out her hand to touch my waist. I recoiled by reflex, my back hitting the wardrobe. Miss Shen, please have some self-respect. I just wanted to check on your work performance. After all, with a monthly salary of 100,000, I have to ensure your physique is up to standard. She smiled with an innocent face, but in those eyes was clearly a look of triumph from a successful prank. My face darkened as I brushed past her to continue cleaning the living room. Hard as it was, I just finished the coffee table, arranging fresh flowers and stacking magazines. Turning my head, I saw she had already messed up the pile of clothes I just folded. What are you doing? Looking for clothes to wear tomorrow. Why didn't you tell me which outfit you wanted, so I could get it for you? But it's faster if I find it myself. I took a deep breath, telling myself it's for my sister's surgery money. While I was reorganizing the wardrobe, Shen Yushu leaned in close again. This time she climbed straight onto my back, leaning her head on my shoulder, her breath fanning my ear. Butler Jiang, do you know that when you're angry, your eyebrows twitch? Ms. Shen, can you please stop being so childish? Nope, she laughed. The money I paid isn't just for cleaning services, but also for the joy of seeing you lose your mind. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. Turning around to say something, I realized her face was only 5 centimeters from mine. At this distance, I could clearly see my own reflection in her eyes, along with that smug smile on her lips. The atmosphere suddenly felt a bit strange. I flusteredly turned my face away to continue cleaning. Shen Yushu stopped messing around too, silently standing by and watching me. At 7 p.m., I finally finished cleaning the whole house. Standing in the living room, looking around, admiring the neat and tidy space, my OCD was incredibly satisfied. Shen Yoshu leaned against the sofa, resting her chin on her hand as she looked at me. Butler Jiang, do you know, this is the first time this house actually looks like a home. In her voice, there was an indescribable emotion. I didn't respond, packing up my tools to leave. As I reached the door, she suddenly called out, remember to come early tomorrow. I have a dinner date with my fiancé at home. My footsteps faltered. Fiancé, turning back to look at Shen Yushu. She was just smirking at me, something flickering in her eyes. What's wrong, you jealous? Miss Shen, you're overthinking. I'm just a butler, expressionless. I closed the door, yet in my heart, I felt a slight pang of discomfort. 3 p.m. on the third day, I was in the kitchen prepping ingredients for dinner. When my phone suddenly rang, it was the hospital. My sister's condition had suddenly taken a turn for the worse, requiring immediate second-round chemotherapy. The 150,000 cost had to be paid today. The knife in my hand almost fell to the floor. The contract clearly stated monthly pay. Right now, it was only the third day. There was no way I could get the money. I frantically called Shen Yushu, but her phone kept going to voicemail. The assistant said she was discussing an important project and couldn't take calls. I paced back and forth in the living room over 10 times. Finally, my gaze landed on the blue and white porcelain vase on the antique shelf in the corner of the room. Last time I cleaned, I'd looked up that vase. It was worth at least 200,000. I knew this was a crime, but my sister couldn't wait any longer. I carefully put the vase into a bag. Just as I was about to leave, the door suddenly opened. Shen Yushu walked in first, followed by a man in a tailored suit with an extraordinary aura. One look and you knew he was an elite of society. That must be her fiancé, Gu Yan. The three of us locked eyes in the entryway. The atmosphere instantly froze. Guyan was the first to react, pointing at the bag in my hand. Yushu, what is he holding? Before I could even explain, Guyan strode over and snatched the bag to open it. After seeing the vase, his expression shifted instantly. Great Yushu, you've got a thief hiding in your house. I'm calling the police right now. Guyan desu. Let me explain. Shen Yushu tried to say something, but Guyan had already taken out his phone and called the police. I was completely paralyzed this time. I'm really screwed now. The police siren soon blared. 2 officers walked in. One of them was the same guy from last time. You again. The officer frowned as he looked at me. Officer, this time it's actual theft caught red-handed. Guen handed over the vase. This vase is worth 230,000, and he was planning to steal it? I closed my eyes and accepted my fate. Sorry, little sister. Just as the police were about to cuff me, a hand suddenly wrapped around my waist. I opened my eyes. Shen Yoshu pressed her entire body against mine, holding me tight. She looked up to face Guyan, flashing a cold smile. Guyan, let me introduce you. This is my boyfriend, Jiang Ye. That vase is a token of our love that I gave to him. Now he wants to take it home. To show his sister, is there a problem? Everyone present was stunned. What did you say? Guyan's face turned pale. You're saying he's your boyfriend? Shen Yushu spoke every word clearly. The hand around my waist tightened a bit more. Shen Yushu, have you gone crazy? We've been engaged for 3 years. So what? Engaged isn't the same as married. I don't want to marry you anymore. Is that not allowed? Shen Yoshu shrugged, her tone as casual as discussing what to eat today. You... Guyan was trembling with rage, pointing at me. What the hell is he supposed to be? A mere servant, and you choose him over me? That's right, I just like him. Is that a problem? As Shen Yushu spoke, she suddenly stood on her tiptoes and kissed my cheek. My entire body froze. Her lips were very soft, carrying a faint fragrance. Where she touched felt like an electric shock. Officer, if I gave it voluntarily, then it shouldn't count as theft, right? Shen Yushu let go of me and turned to the police. The officer looked at her, then at me, finally letting out a sigh. If the female party confirms it was a gift, then it truly doesn't count as theft. Very well. Shen Yushu pulled my hand. Our engagement is cancelled as of today. You can leave now. Shen Yushu, you'll regret this.
Goo.
Yan threw back those harsh words and turned to slam the door, leaving as the police also shook their heads and departed. In the living room, only Shen Yushu and I remained. She let go of my hand and her smile vanished instantly, replaced by an expression of exhaustion. Don't get the wrong idea. I just needed a human shield to escape a family arranged marriage. She went to the sofa and sat down. Didn't you need money urgently? I can give you an advance, but the condition is that you must pose as my boyfriend until I've completely escaped the harassment of that family. I looked at her, suddenly feeling that this woman wasn't as simple as she appeared on the surface. If I refuse, then for your sister's surgery costs, you'll have to figure it out yourself. Shen Yoshu leaned back on the sofa with eyes devoid of any warmth. I clenched my fists, eventually forced to compromise. Fine. Shen Yoshu revealed a satisfied smile. She took a card out of her bag and handed it to me. The password is your birthday. There's 200,000 inside. As for the rest, once you've played the boyfriend role well, we'll talk. I took the card, my fingers trembling slightly. What on earth is this woman plotting? The second day after the employees left, Shen Yushu told me to move into her house. Couples living together is perfectly normal. The Gu family will definitely send someone to follow us. If you stay outside, we'll be exposed. She pointed to the guest room opposite, the master bedroom. You stay in that room. But normally we have to act the part. Understand? I carried my suitcase into the room. The room was cleaned very thoroughly. She must have specially cleaned it last night. Thinking of this messy woman actually cleaning a room for me, I felt a bit complicated and indescribable inside. Over the next few days, Shen Yoshu started training me on how to play the boyfriend role well. Call me Yushu, stop with the Miss Shen talk. Got it, Yushu. 0, you should say it. Intimately, with a bit of a doting feel. She corrected me. Yushu. I tried to relax my voice. Again. Yushu. Still not right. That tone of yours sounds like you're calling a boss. She arched her brows and suddenly leaned in close. Forget it. Practice makes perfect. Starting now. We will practice daily interactions. After saying that, she immediately hooked her arm in mine, almost hanging her whole body on me. I'm thirsty. Want to drink some water? She even looked up at me with sparkling eyes. My entire body went stiff, mechanically walking to the water dispenser, pouring a glass and handing it to her. No, that attitude is too stiff. Shen Yushu shook her head. You should check the temperature first. Confirm it's not hot before giving it to me. Then say, babe. Here, drink slowly. Butler Jiang, this is way too much. She interrupted me with a meaningful smile. I took a deep breath and poured another glass, blowing on it first before bringing it to her lips. Drink slowly, babe. Drink slowly, babe. I gritted my teeth and forced out those 2 words. The tips of my ears turned bright red. Shen Yoshu laughed, satisfied, took a sip of water, and then intentionally brought the glass to my mouth. You drink too. No need. Between couples, drinking from the same glass is a very normal thing. She blinked. I stared at the rim of the glass, right where she had just touched it. Hesitating for a few seconds, I still took it. Taking a sip of the water, it seemed to have her flavor sweet. The subsequent training was even more torturous. She would suddenly hug me from behind, forcing me to practice my reflexes. Turning to hug her waist, she'd purposely wear a slip dress, pacing back and forth in front of me, saying she wanted to test my endurance. Zhang Ye, where are your eyes looking? She grabbed my chin, forcing me to look straight at her. Nowhere. Liar, I saw you staring at my legs. I tried to defend myself, but she only laughed more joyfully. Whether you were or not doesn't matter. What matters is that you're nervous. She leaned in her breath on my stiff face. You don't actually have feelings for me, do you? You're overthinking it. I turned my face away, but my heart was racing like it wanted to jump out. That night, I was in the living room, cleaning up the mess she had made during the day. Suddenly, I heard suppressed sobbing from the master bedroom, echoing out. I froze for a few seconds and went to the door. I hesitated, not knowing if I should knock. The crying grew louder. In the end, I pushed the door open and entered. Shen Yushu was curled up on the bed, shrouded in blankets, her shoulders trembling violently. I walked over, gently touching her shoulder. She abruptly looked up, eyes bloodshot, her face drenched in tears, completely losing that carefree look from the daytime. Get out, she screamed. What's wrong? None of your business. Get out. She grabbed a pillow and threw it at me. I caught the pillow and sat on the edge of the bed. If you want to cry, just cry. I can't leave anyway. The contract hasn't expired yet. Shen Yushu was stunned, then suddenly burst out laughing. Laughing, then crying again. Zhang Ye, do you know? In reality, I have severe social anxiety, she said brokenly. Since childhood, my family forced me into all sorts of parties, having to socialize with those fake people. I hate a life like that. So I intentionally made the house a mess to make myself look abnormal. That way, they wouldn't force me anymore. I listened in silence. Gu Yan was a family arrangement. I never liked him. The one he likes isn't me either, but just the shares of the Shen family. She looked up at me, You're the first person to get angry because my house is too messy, and not because of my status, not because of my money, but simply because you felt it was dirty. This feeling is very strange, but it makes me feel real. My heart suddenly softened. Then just keep being messy since, anyway, I'll clean it up. Shen Yushu's eyes lit up with a radiant smile. Jiang Ye, can what you said be considered a confession in your dreams? I just have OCD. It's acting up again. I stood up to leave, but she grabbed my wrist. Can you sleep with me tonight? I'm scared alone, she whispered. I looked at her swollen red eyes and finally lay down on the edge of the bed. In the darkness, I could hear her steady breathing. The boundary between hunter and prey seemed to have truly started to blur. Waking up the next morning, I found Shen Yushu like a koala, hanging on to me, with one leg even draped over my waist. I carefully tried to pull away, but she hugged me even tighter, nuzzling into my chest. She mumbled something unintelligible. Yushu, get up. Sleep a little longer. She acted spoiled, snuggling into me. Having absolutely no intention of letting go, I resigned myself to fate, staying in that position while staring at the ceiling, starting to reflect on myself. Jiang Ye, oh Jiang Ye, you're here to make money, not to fall in love. Get it together. But when the sunlight pierced through the curtains, shining onto her face, watching her peaceful appearance while she slept, I realized that I basically couldn't stay level-headed. The following week, Guyan indeed had people tailing us. Every time we went out, we could see the same black car following behind. Shen Yushu, however, really enjoyed this act. At the shopping mall, she would intentionally link arms with me. Seeing the followers, she'd kiss my cheek. While eating at restaurants, she would feed me, her gaze so tender it could melt. Stop being so childish, I whispered. No way, we have to let them capture enough. Evidence, so Guyan completely gives up. As she spoke, she picked up a piece of steak and brought it to my mouth. That afternoon, Shen Yushu received a call from her assistant, saying Guyan's spies had all withdrawn today. Perhaps he finally believed that we were actually together. This is great. She hung up the phone and twirled around in excitement. Jiang Ye, we succeeded. Let's celebrate tonight. I watched her take a bottle from the wine cabinet. It was an 82 Lafite, her father's prized possession. Wine this expensive and you're just drinking it. If we don't drink it, it'll just grow mold. She poured 2 glasses, handing me one. Cheers to me winning back my freedom. The red wine hit the palate rich. With a subtle fruity aroma, Shen Yushu downed glass after glass and was soon tipsy. Jiang Ye, do you know, this is the first time in my life I've felt like I'm living as a human being. She leaned against the sofa, cheeks flushed. Jiang Ye, since I was a kid, everyone told me what I should do, what kind of person I should become. Only you scolded me for being messy, called me a nuisance, and treated me like a normal person. Shen Yushu, you've had too much to drink. I tried to take the wine glass from her hand, but she dodged it. I'm not drunk, I'm perfectly sober. She suddenly leaned in close, reaching out to touch my stomach. Jiang Ye, won't you let me check out those abs of yours? Stop messing around. I grabbed her hand, but her other hand had already lifted my t-shirt. There really are 6-packs. Her eyes lit up. Her fingers glided over my abs. It felt so good. My entire body went stiff. The blood began to rush uncontrollably to my brain. Shen Yushu, if you keep acting up, I'm leaving. Don't go. She suddenly lunged into my arms, wrapping both hands around my neck. Jiang Ye, you can't leave. I know the contract is almost up, but I don't want you to go. She looked up, her gaze hazy as she watched me. Why? My throat felt parched. Because she leaned in even closer, our breaths intertwining. Because I think I'd like you. After she finished, her lips pressed against mine. Unlike last time, which was just a fleeting touch like a dragonfly on water. This time it was a real kiss, warm and soft, carrying a gentle, sweet flavor. My rationality crumbled. In an instant, my hands instinctively wrapped around her waist, responding to the kiss. In the living room, only the sound of heavy breathing and heartbeats remained. Just as I was about to lose myself completely, the door was suddenly kicked open violently. Gu Yan burst in, followed by a man holding a camera. Flashlights flickered incessantly. Shen Yushu and I pulled apart in a panic. Her collar had been pulled messy by me, and my clothes were also a crumpled mess. Did you get the shot? Gu Yan asked with a cold laugh. Got it, Mr. Gu. The angle and intensity are both perfect. The photographer holding the camera smirked vilely. Very good. Gu Yan walked over, looking down at Shen Yushu from above. Shen Yushu, I gave you a chance. Now either obediently transfer the 15% stake in your hands to me, or I'll send these photos to the media, so the whole world can see how much the Shen family's heiress lacks self-respect. Shen Yushu's face turned pale, her whole body trembling. You trapped me. It's because you're stupid. Guyan laughed coldly. Did you really think I'd give up that easily? Why remove the surveillance cameras? Simply for today's grand performance. By 12 p.m. tomorrow, if I don't see the stock transfer papers, the photos will be in the news. He threw those words back, then arrogantly walked out with the photographer. The moment the door closed, Shen Yushu collapsed onto the sofa. It's all my fault. I clenched my fists, nails digging deep into my skin. It's not your fault. She shook her head, tears falling again. It's because I was too naive. I looked at her crying like that, my heart aching as if someone was squeezing it. This time we lost. Throughout the entire night, Shen Yushu locked herself in the bedroom. I sat outside the door, listening to the sobs echoing from inside, wanting nothing more than to slap myself twice. If only I hadn't lost control. If at that moment I had pushed her away, this wouldn't have happened. The next morning, Shen Yushu, with swollen eyes, walked out. She had changed into business attire, her face wearing that cold mask once again. You don't need to blame yourself. This was a trap from the start. Even if that hadn't happened last night, Gu Yan would have found another excuse to blackmail me. Her voice was raspy. So what do we do now? What else can we do, all sign? She gave a self-deprecating laugh. It's just 15% of the shares. At worst, later on, I'll have no say in the company. It's better than being utterly ruined. No, I stood up. Those shares were left to you by your father. Why should you give them to that bastard Gu Yan? Then you tell me, what should I do? Shen Yushu suddenly raised her voice, tears streaming down again. Do you have a way out? Once those photos are leaked, I'm finished. The Shen family's reputation will be ruined. My mother will be worried to death. My lips trembled, but I couldn't say a word. 11 a.m. Gu Yan called to pressure her. Shen Yushu prepared to go out to sign. I stopped her. Let me go. What are you going for? I have a way. I took a deep breath and made a decision. Trust me. 3 hours later, I appeared in Gu Yan's office. He was leisurely sipping coffee. Seeing me enter, he gave a mocking smile. Did Shen Yushu send you to deliver the stock transfer contract? Well, where is it? She isn't coming. I stood in front of him. Gu Yan, I have something to say to you. Speak. My time is limited. He leaned back in his chair, acting like the winner. Everything last night was my setup, I began. Gu Yan arched an eyebrow, signaling for me to continue. Shen Yushu has no idea what kind of person I am. I'm just a thief who approached her because I needed cash. The day I got caught, I did it on purpose. The goal was to scam her, win her trust, and then steal her money. I spoke every word very slowly. The so-called boyfriend relationship was me playing her. I pretended to like her just so she would let her guard down around me. Last night, I also intentionally got her drunk, planning to use the chance to pry for her safe's password. Gu Yan sat up straight, his eyes narrowing slightly. What are you trying to say? I'm saying Shen Yushu is the victim. She was scammed by a thief like me. Those photos from last night were absolutely not consensual on her part. I used the alcohol to try and take advantage of her. If you leak those photos, she can completely sue me for attempted rape. Once the police start investigating, who do you think will be in more trouble? Gu Yan's face shifted. You're lying. Whether I'm lying or not, you can go ahead and investigate my background. Zhang Ye, 23 years old, has a criminal record for theft, sister is sick and needs cash urgently. Why else would someone like this approach a wealthy socialite, if not for the money? Gu Yan fell silent for a few seconds, then suddenly burst out laughing. Interesting, truly interesting. Shen Yushu actually found such a scumbag. He stood up and walked over to me. But do you think doing this can really protect her? I can still ruin her reputation. Suit yourself. I turned to leave. Anyway, I've already admitted to being a fraud. By then, the media will only pity her for being played by a thief. No one will think she's indecent. As for those shares, she'd rather die than give them to you. Stop right there. Gu Yan called out, Zhang Ye, I admire your courage. But you think it's just going to end like this? I'll let everyone know just how pathetic Shen Yushu's taste is. Being played by a thief and spun around like a top is still better than being toyed with by a beast in human clothing like you. I didn't look back and walked straight out of the office. In the evening, I returned to Shen Yushu's house. She was sitting on the sofa in the living room. The TV was broadcasting the news. Zhang Ye admits to being a professional fraudster, exploiting the victim's feelings to carry out his scam. She watched the news, tears silently falling. Why did you do it? She turned her head to look at me, her eyes filled with disbelief. Because it was the only way to protect you. I didn't need this kind of protection. She stood up, her voice trembling. Do you even know what doing this means? Everyone will despise you. Your sister won't be able to hold her head up. It'll be hard for you to find a job later. It's better than you being ruined, I said calmly. Shen Yushu slapped me hard across the face. The slap was so hard my face went numb. Get out. She pointed toward the door. Get out right now. I never want to see you again. I touched my cheek. It was burning as I turned to leave the residential area. The sky suddenly poured down torrential rain. I stood in the rain, letting the water soak through me. I'm sorry, Yushu. This is the only thing I can do for you. After leaving Shen Yushu, I moved back to a shabby rented room in the slums. A 6 square meter room with nothing but a bed and a wardrobe. The walls were peeling. The ceiling was leaking. Compared to Shen Yushu's villa, they were truly two different worlds. I lay on the bed, staring at the moldy ceiling, my head filled with her final gaze. Disappointment, anger, heartbreak, all those emotions mixed together. The phone rang. It was the hospital calling me, Mr. Jiang. Your sister's surgery was very successful. The remaining costs have already been paid by someone for you. I was stunned. Who was it? The other party asked us only to say they were your friend. Hanging up, I suddenly realized it was her. It had to be her. I wanted to call Shen Yushu. My finger hovered over the screen for a long time. But eventually I put it down. Calling her now, what would I say thank you, or say sorry? These days I survived on part-time jobs, carrying loads at construction sites by day, washing dishes at a restaurant by night, exhausted to death. Returning to the rented room, I was too lazy to even bathe and just crashed. The obsessive-compulsive disorder seemed to vanish along with my departure from her. The room became more and more cluttered, clothes tossed everywhere, lunchboxes piled up in the trash. I even felt that this was quite alright. No need to force myself to stay clean anymore. 5 nights later, while I was buying instant noodles at a convenience store, I saw the news. The Shen Group has fallen into a financial crisis. Stock prices have plummeted by 30%. Chairwoman Shen Yushu is being questioned by the board. Seeing her on TV, she looks so much more haggard. Facing a barrage of cameras and reporters, she still maintained a polite smile. Excuse me, President Shen, there are rumors that Gu Group is about to acquire 40% of Shen Group's shares. Do you have any response to this? I have nothing to say at this time. Her voice was very cold, but I could hear the exhaustion in it. I stood in the convenience store. A pack of noodles in my hand fell to the floor. I didn't even realize that bastard Gu Yan still made his move against Shen Group. Over the next few days, I frantically searched for news about the Shen Group. The more I saw, the more horrified I became. Gu Yan had abused his position during his tenure as the chief financial officer of Shen Group, embezzling public funds for investments, leading to a rupture in the company's capital chain. Now he's teaming up with several directors to force Shen Yushu to transfer her shares. Otherwise, they'll call a shareholders meeting to dismiss her. But Shen Yushu only holds 35% of the shares and is completely unable to resist. I wanted to help her, but what can a fraudster with a criminal record like me even do? That night, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. An image suddenly flashed in my mind. When I was cleaning the house of Shen Yushu, I saw in the study's trash can a lot of shredded documents. At that time, my OCD flared up, and I even intentionally categorized those scraps and rearranged them. On those documents, there seemed to be financial reports and transfer records, along with Gu Yan's signature. I bolted upright those documents. Could they be the evidence of Gu Yan embezzling public funds? Early the next morning, I rushed to her apartment building. The security guard recognized me and immediately blocked me. Mr. Jiang, President Shen said you are no longer allowed inside. I know, but I have something very important. Can you ask her for me? But those trash bags, did she keep them? The guard looked completely confused, but still called Shen Yushu's assistant. 10 minutes later, the assistant came down with 2 large trash bags. President Shen said, "This is the recycled trash you cleaned up last time. It's been in the storage room all along. She's asking why you need these things. Tell her I want to help her." I lugged those 2 trash bags back to my shack, starting a frantic search that lasted 3 days and 3 nights. I pieced every scrap of paper back together one by one. My eyes were bloodshot from staying up, and my fingers had countless cuts from the paper, but I didn't dare stop. Finally, in the early morning of the 4th day, I managed to assemble a complete list of evidence. Gu Yan, over the past 2 years, had embezzled Shen Group's funds under various aliases and pretexts. Over 50 million was transferred to his personal accounts and affiliated companies. Every single transfer had his signature and the company seal. Dates, amounts, and purposes were clearly documented. Holding this evidence, my hands trembled. "Yushu, I found it." I immediately sent a message to Yushu. "I found proof of Gu Yan embezzling funds right in the trash at your house. Before the board meeting tomorrow, I must see you." The message was sent for a long time without a reply. I stared at the phone screen, my heart sinking. At 3 a.m., the phone finally rang. 9 a.m. tomorrow, at the entrance of Shen Group. I'll give you 10 minutes. Seeing this reply, I collapsed onto the bed, tears suddenly flowing. "Yushu, wait for me. This time it's my turn to protect you." 8:30 a.m. the next morning. I wore my only decent outfit, carrying the file bag full of evidence. Standing before the entrance of Shen Group, the building towered majestically, people coming and going. We're all elites wearing designer suits. I stood in the crowd looking completely out of place. Exactly at 9 o'clock, a black Maybach pulled up to the entrance. Shen Yushu stepped out of the car. She wore a navy blue suit. Her hair was meticulously styled. Her appearance was flawless without a single defect. But I could see the dark circles and exhaustion under her eyes. It was a weariness that even the most exquisite makeup could not hide. "Speak, what evidence?" She stood before me, her tone as cold as if I were a stranger. I opened the file bag and handed her the pieced together papers. "This is all the evidence of Gu Yan embezzling funds. Over the past 2 years, he has moved a total of 53 million. Under the guise of project investments. Every single amount can be traced." Shen Yoshu took the documents, flipping through them quickly, her hands trembling slightly. Her eyes grew brighter and brighter. "How did these end up at my house? Do you remember? Half a month ago, Gu Yan came to your house once, saying he was picking up some documents. He was likely afraid of exposure and wanted to destroy the proof. But your house was such a mess. After shredding the documents, he just tossed them in the trash, thinking you would just throw them out like garbage." I gave a bitter smile. Who knew it'd be picked up by someone with OCD like me to be sorted and rearranged? Shen Yushu stared at those documents, her eyes turning red and swollen. Why are you helping me when you left last time? Wasn't it very decisive? Because I took a deep breath. Because I owe you. And besides, I don't want to see you bullied by that bastard. Is that all? She looked up at me with anticipation and scrutiny in her eyes. I wanted to say it wasn't just that. I wanted to say I liked her that during the days away. From her, I couldn't sleep a single night. I wanted to say, seeing her so haggard, my heart felt like it was being cut. But when the words reached my lips, I only nodded. That's all. The light in Shen Yushu's eyes flickered out. She pulled the documents back and turned to leave. Shen Yushu called her back. Let me go with you to the board meeting today. No need. I can handle it alone. I know you can, but I want to be by your side. I stepped in front of her. This time, it's not an act. Not for money, I simply want to help you. Just consider it as me repaying the favor. For you paying my sister's medical bills? She was silent for a long time before finally nodding. The boardroom was on the 32nd floor. In the elevator, Shen Yushu didn't say a word, and I didn't know what to say either. The moment the elevator doors opened, she suddenly spoke up. Zhang Ye, if we succeed today, will you still leave? I was stunned, and before I could answer, the boardroom doors were pushed open. Guyan was sitting in the chairman's seat. Seeing me following behind Shen Yushu, his expression shifted instantly. Shen Yushu, this is a board meeting. What's the meaning of bringing an outsider here? An outsider. Shen Yushu gave a cold laugh. Then let me introduce him. This is my special assistant Zhang Ye. From today, he will have full authority to investigate the company's financial issues. Have you lost your mind? Guyan slammed the table and stood up, letting a fraudster audit the books. Do you want the company to go bankrupt? Who the real fraud is? We'll find out soon enough. Shen Yushu signaled for me to sit down, then turned on the projector. For the next hour, I presented all the evidence of Guyan embezzling public funds. Item by item was displayed. Every transfer record, every faked project report, every fraudulent approval process, all of it was laid out clearly. Right in front of the board of directors, Guyan's face turned from pale to ghostly white. All of this is fake. Shen Yushu, you're colluding with an outsider to frame me. Fake, I sneered. The signatures and seals on these documents can all be verified for authenticity. Furthermore, I've already called the police. They're investigating the shell companies under your name. Director Gu, where do you think you can possibly run to? As I finished, the boardroom doors were pushed open. Several police officers walked in. Gu Yun, you are suspected of abuse of power, property misappropriation, and embezzlement. Please come with us. Gu Yan slumped paralyzed into his chair, looking completely drained as he was led away. He turned back to glare fiercely at Zhang Ye. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret is not exposing you sooner, I replied calmly. The other directors in the room looked at each other and finally voted unanimously to strip Guyan of all positions with Shen Yushu, taking full charge of the company's affairs. When walking out of the boardroom, Shen Yushu suddenly leaned against the wall and slumped down. Yushu. I rushed over to support her, but she pushed me away, her heart aching. She looked up, and tears finally streamed down uncontrollably. Zhang Ye, do you know that during this time, every day I thought, it would have been better if I never met you. If I hadn't met you, I wouldn't know what it feels like to be treated sincerely. If I hadn't met you, I wouldn't be suffering like this. My heart felt squeezed, but then, yet today, you appeared again. She cried and laughed at the same time. You saved me again, so what? Are you planning to do just like last time? Saying it's to repay a favor, then turning to leave. Don't bother explaining. Shen Yoshu stood up and took a check from her bag, handing it to me. This is the reward you deserve. From today, we owe each other nothing, Zhang Ye. Go, I don't want to see you anymore. After speaking, she didn't look back, but stepped straight into the elevator. I stood there clutching that check, suddenly feeling like a total bastard. What on earth was I afraid of? I didn't leave. I tore that check into pieces and tossed it into the trash can at the building's entrance. I loitered around the Shen Group building all afternoon, finally deciding to stay, not for money, not to repay a favor, simply because I didn't want to leave her side. The next morning, I changed into a janitor's uniform and snuck into the Shen Group. The guard was stunned for a moment when he saw me. I explained that I was a newly hired temp. He let me in, though he was still skeptical. After all, the front desk really was hiring janitors. My job was very simple, cleaning the floors, but my true purpose was to keep watch outside the office of Shen Yushu to ensure she stayed safe. Gu Yan might have been arrested, but her business affairs at the company definitely still had issues lingering from years past. I couldn't rest easy letting her handle it alone. On the third day, my fears became a reality. An emergency shareholders meeting was suddenly called. The directors who originally backed Guyan had joined forces, demanding the removal of Shen Yushu from her position as chairwoman. The reason was her poor management, which led to heavy losses for the company. I stood outside the boardroom, peering through the crack in the door to watch the situation inside. President Shen, the company's stock price is in a freefall. Many projects are at a standstill. This is all your responsibility? An old director pointed at Shen Yushu. Director Wang is right. President Shen is still young, lacks management experience. Someone more capable should take over the company. Another director chimed in. Shen Yushu sat in the chairperson's seat, her face pale, but still maintaining her composure. Gentlemen, the current difficult situation of the company is indeed due to my poor management, but please give me 3 months. I will definitely be able to get the company back on track. 3 months. President Shen, in 3 months the company might be bankrupt. I propose an immediate vote to remove Shen Yushu from the position of chairwoman. Seeing the vote about to begin, I couldn't hold back anymore. I pushed open the boardroom door and strode inside. Wait a minute. Everyone was stunned, and Shen Yushu's eyes widened even more. Why are you here? Gentlemen, I have something to say. I walked to the conference table and placed a stack of documents on it. These are the documents I've investigated over the last 3 days. The company's current crisis isn't entirely President Shen's fault, but rather because someone is pulling strings behind the scenes. Nonsense security kicked this man out. Director Wang stood up and shouted, "Wait, don't be in such a hurry to kick me out. Hear me out first." I opened the first file. Director Wang, 2 months ago, you suddenly dumped 5% of your shares, causing the stock price to plummet. On the surface, it was for cash flow, but in reality, it's because Guyan promised you a higher profit margin, didn't he? Director Wang's expression changed completely. And Director Li too. The 50 million project you handled suddenly stopped. Not because of funding issues, but because you intentionally delayed progress, wanting President Shen to take the fall, while using the chance to buy company departments at a low price. I called out each person, exposing all the evidence I had investigated over these few days. The boardroom was dead silent. These documents I've already handed over to the audit department and the legal team. If you directors still insist on dismissing President Shen, then I will have no choice but to hand this evidence over to the regulatory authorities. By then, it won't be as simple as just being dismissed. I looked around at everyone. I know you all despise me and think I'm just a fraud. But I want to say, for this company, President Shen has poured in all her heart. She may be young and may lack experience, but she sincerely wants to lead this company to success. Are any of you even fit to carry her shoes? Insolent. Director Wang slammed the table and stood up. Who the hell are you to dare lecture us? Who I am doesn't matter. I walked over to Shen Yushu's side and pointed at those directors. What matters is that from today, I am President Shen's special assistant. Anyone who dares touch her is picking a fight with me. Shen Yushu looked up at me, with shock in her eyes, along with touch of emotion and feelings I couldn't decipher. In the end, under my threat, the vote did not take place. Those directors, with faces turned ashen, slipped out of the boardroom one by one. Only I and Shen Yushu remained. She stood up. Are you crazy? Do you even know what you just did? You've offended half the directors in this company. I know, but I still did it. Because I couldn't just stand by and watch you get bullied. I interrupted her. Shen Yushu, I admit I was a scoundrel before. I thought the way to protect you was to stay away so you could return to a normal life. But over the past few days, I've realized something. True protection isn't about running away. It's about standing right by your side and facing every difficulty together. Shen Yushu bit her lip, tears welling up. But we originally belonged to 2 different worlds. Look at this place, at these people, at these schemes and power struggles. Is this really the life you want? No. I stepped closer to her. But wherever you are, that is the life I want. She finally couldn't hold back her tears as they rolled down her cheeks. Jiang Ye, do you have any idea how much effort it took me to convince myself to give up on you? Why did you come back? Why are you treating me so well? Because I took a deep breath and finally spoke the words I had suppressed for so long. Because I like you. Ever since that first time you lied at the police station to save me, ever since the first time you smiled and said I could mess up the house, ever since the first time you cried in my arms, I already liked you. Shen Yushu's eyes widened. But before I thought that liking someone meant giving them the absolute best, but I couldn't give you anything at all. But now I understand that what you wanted was never just what I could give you, but me as a person. I took her hand. Shen Yushu, can you give me a chance? Let me be by your side, not as a housekeeper, not as an assistant, but as your boyfriend. Shen Yushu looked at him, tears streaming down. Are you sure you definitely want to be with me? You're sure you wanted to face all that gossip? All those doubts? I'm sure, I said with a hint of playfulness. Besides, your house needs someone to clean it. Without me, you wouldn't even be able to find your socks. She burst into laughter, lightly punching his chest. Jiang Ye, you really are. Before she could finish, I pulled her into my arms. This time it was for real. 3 months later, Shen Group's stock price didn't just recover, it hit a record high in history. Shen Yushu used iron-fisted tactics to clean out the corrupt elements within the company's internal ranks, bringing in a new management team and pushing forward several key projects. Business magazines called her the Outstanding Businesswoman of the Year. As for me, from a special assistant, I became the official vice president. Of course, this position raised more than a few eyebrows. Many people called me a gold digger, saying I relied on a woman to move up. I didn't care because every day after work, returning home, seeing Shen Yushu turning the living room into a total mess, and then casually waiting for me to clean it up, I realized those rumors didn't matter at all. That night, I came home from work as usual and found the living room in shambles the moment I opened the door. At least 10 outfits were piled on the sofa, and the coffee table was covered with 5 takeout boxes. The floor was littered with various delivery packages. My temples throbbed. I took 3 deep breaths, telling myself not to get angry. Who told me to spoil her anyway? I shouted out. Honey, I'm home. She poked her head out from the bedroom with an innocent smile. Work was so exhausting today, I didn't have the strength to clean. You say you're tired every single day. I took off my suit jacket, rolled up my sleeves, and started cleaning. Did you do this on purpose? Caught red-handed, she walked over and hugged my waist from behind, resting her chin on my shoulder. Who told me I loved? Watching the way you tidy things up, it's especially attractive. Childish, I said, but the corners of my mouth couldn't help but curl up. Halfway through cleaning, inside the sofa cushions, I found a small red box. What's this? Open it and see, Shen Yushu said mysteriously. I opened the box. Inside were 2 rings. This is, Jiang Ye, will you marry me? She suddenly dropped to one knee, looking at me seriously. I know that traditionally, the man is supposed to propose, but I can't wait anymore. I want the whole world to know that you are mine. I was stunned, the box in my hand almost falling to the floor. Are you serious? Of course I'm serious. She grabbed my hand. Jiang Ye, for the past 3 months, every day I've thought about what if you had actually left. What would I have done if we had missed our chance? I don't want to wait a second longer. I want to marry you right now. I want to see you go crazy every day, cleaning up my messes. I want to hear you nag me, saying I don't know how to take care of myself. I want to be protected by you for the rest of my life. Her eyes sparkled with a light that reminded me of the first time we met, when she was staring at my abs and drooling. Shen Yoshu, do you know, you're the best pretender I've ever met. I knelt down to match her eye level. Clearly a fool in love, yet you love to play? The overbearing female CEO, you clearly know how to tidy up, yet you keep pretending to be a slob. You clearly planned this long ago, yet you pretend it's spontaneous. Busted. She stuck her tongue out. So are you marrying me or not? I'm not. I pulled her up and kissed her lips. But I'm the one putting the ring on. Why? Because I should be the one proposing. I pulled a small box from my pocket, which also contained 2 rings. Shen Yushu, marry me. Let me clean up your messes every day. Let me listen to your nonsense every day. Let me stay by your side for the rest of my life. Shen Yushu looked at the ring in my hand, tears falling once again. When did you prepare this? A month ago, I said with a smile. I originally planned to wait for a beautiful day to propose. Ito. Who knew you'd beat me to it? So we're proposing to each other. I guess so. I placed the ring on her finger, and she did the same for me. The 2 rings shimmered under the light, like a sacred vow. A month later, we went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register our marriage. No lavish wedding, no house full of guests, just the 2 of us in matching outfits, holding 2 red marriage certificates, grinning like 2 idiots. Jiang Ye, do you have any regrets? As we stepped out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Shen Yushu suddenly asked. Regrets about what? Regretting marrying a mess like me, no regrets. I squeezed her hand tight. But you have to promise me one thing. At least learn how to find your own socks in the future? No way. Finding socks is your job, she said confidently. Too bad. I'm in charge of making money for the family. You're in charge of looking pretty and cleaning the house. Then I guess I really married the right person. I couldn't help but laugh. Upon returning home, Shen Yushu intentionally tossed her newly bought clothes onto the sofa and looked at me with a beaming smile. Hubby, the house is a mess again. I see it. I sighed and began tidying up. She sat nearby, chin in hand, watching me, with eyes full of happiness. Jiang Ye, do you know, it turns out the most skilled hunter often appears as the prey. You're just realizing that now. I turned back to look at her. From the very first day, I was already your prey. Then, are you doing this willingly? Completely willingly? I put down the clothes in my hand, walked over and hugged her. Besides, I'll never run away for the rest of my life. Shen Yushu leaned into my chest and whispered something. What did you say? I said, I love you too. I lowered my head to kiss her lips. The sunset outside the window poured into the living room, stretching our shadows out very long, as if we had merged into one. This story started with an absurd burglary, and finally ended with a perfect hunt. In the end, I thought I was the hunter, but turned out to be the prey. But what does that matter? Being hunted by the one you love was always meant to be the best ending